Do you watch
because it drives you pretty crazy.
do you watch Arnab?
Oh God, it plays every day at home.
Arnab?
But
Who
yeah,
watches it?
because he's exposing apparently SSR,
Who's SSR?
Sushant Singh Rajput.
Oh yeah, man.
It's like it sounds very sketchy, the whole thing.
It sounds really
And like
sketchy.
honestly, like the way it's been reported is also not very in good taste, I would say. But yeah, let the law do its action, and I have faith that they will.
Yeah, because people are
But
like
it's really like
people like he's being threatened. He was being threatened. This was actually a murder which was pushed off as a suicide.
yeah. I mean, honestly, with the way things are going now, like I think there's a lot of like people's own sort of benefits, especially people the ones who are sort of speaking about it.
Yeah,
They're speaking up for like their own benefit, and we might not ever know the truth
that's
because
true.
of all the things that are sort of
Because
around it,
all of
which
the
is
spin that they've put on this whole story, is it?
yeah. And then now, yeah, and I mean, yeah,
That's nuts, dude.
I think we just have to wait and watch what is
But do you think
going to
Bollywood has
happen.
nepotism though?
Bollywood definitely does, but like, what industry doesn't have nepotism? I think, of course, Bollywood, and rightly so, is coming under this banner because, like, I mean, they're public sort of personalities, right? Like today, I mean, so there's this junction, this train junction,
Yeah.
where like at one point in the day, like some from out of town come and like, so there's a vada pav seller sitting there,
Yeah.
and he has like in a day like the business goes in lakhs.
In lakhs.
Yeah, that kind of business. So I was actually like considering like let me put like some money in, and like if there's a vada pav seller, you also like put a bhel puri wala. Of course, I'm not so enterprising, but another friend was, and I was going to do it with him. So I was like, yeah, you might as well put a sandwich wala, a bhel puri wala, give him a little like cart, and like of course the guy making it, he also takes a percentage, you also take a percentage. But turns out he's got full monopoly over that area. He'll make sure no one else sort of like comes into that thing.
Obviously, there's
So I
lakhs
mean,
at stake.
that's also that it's his business at stake.
Right.
So that's also nepotism, right?
No, that's not exactly nepotism. That's
I mean, using
monopolizing.
your place of power to sort of make sure that other people don't have an opportunity.
So nepotism essentially is giving, from what I understand of nepotism, is basically giving someone that you have like who's related to you.
And then he has a son whose son is also educated, this vada pav seller.
Yeah.
But the son is sort of going to take over the business.
Right. Yeah. So that is.
I mean, as a side.
Yeah, that's absolutely not
that
okay.
That is nepotism.
Right.
But I guess everyone does. I mean, that's
right.
Essentially, I mean, like, yeah, monarchies are you're giving nepotism.
That's not
like,
the same as Bollywood, though, because Bollywood is a legal industry. Selling vada pav on the road is illegal. You're not doing that under the sanction of the law, right? You're doing that in a different space. So it's not really the same thing. It would be the same thing if I were to hire, like if I had a public limited company and I hired my son to be the next CEO.
The next CEO.
Right. Which is.
But I mean, yeah, like Bollywood in that sense is not a public limited company. I mean, these sort of public limited companies are entering the picture, but for years it's not been. It's been sort of like a family business.
Right. And that's actually really messed up because.
I mean, it is what it is. Does it stop people? Like, people still sort of work around it. And even like star kids have their own sort of like struggle that they have to make.
Yeah, but it's not the same as a struggle that a guy who's completely unknown, coming from a different city, who's got talent but doesn't have connections, who's looking to make it big in the city. It's not the same struggle, right?
It's a different set of struggles.
Yeah, and it's an unfair struggle.
I genuinely believe you can't sort of like make it there until you've not sort of really pushed yourself.
No, that's absolutely true. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. All I'm saying is that if someone's going to get an unfair leg up by virtue of their relationships, that's not fair.
That's not fair, but it's not a fair world.
No, it should be a fair world. We should work towards it.
It should.
Ideally, those kinds of
rules. The way we're going, I think we're becoming a more unfair world as we go.
Yeah, and that's
And
something I think that's why people are pissed off about it. That's why there's a
yeah,
deep amount of mistrust of these systems. And
yeah.
at one level, it's nepotism in Bollywood, but at another level, it's the nepotism that they've seen a lot of the niche and the elite have for a long period of time in our country. So there have been a lot
Hmm.
of examples and times where rich people have been just passing the buck to kid after kid, and our middle class individuals who are pretty large
He is
have
suffering. Yeah.
have seen like that level of nepotism go on from generation to generation, and I think people are getting pissed
Hmm.
off at that. And I think very
Hmm.
rightly so, their anger is coming out in Bollywood, but it might be an anger that everyone else holds.
All it is an anger. Like I'm not saying it's not, but it's also a very sort of like short-lived sort of like reactionary anger. I mean, because then we have to
Hmm.
also it's you can't just say,
Yeah,
oh, only the people in privilege are to be blamed for nepotism. Because if anyone were in their position, they'd do the same
they would
thing.
do the same
Why
thing.
would anyone say no? I'm like, why would Karan
Hmm.
Johar say, oh, I want to create equal opportunity from everyone? He wants to work with the people he wants to work
That's
with.
true. So
So it's going to like if you I mean their anger is justified, and even I'm sort of like the fact that I didn't get to like audition for things and like be considered for parts that I would have loved to play. I of course that has angered me in the past, but like you have to sort of introspect in that you can't just sort of it is quite a complex scenario.
it is a
It's not
complex
as simple
scenario.
as like hold these people to ransom and then that's fine.
No, it's
Because okay, fine. Instead of them, someone else will come and then they'll still do the same thing, right?
right. No, it's the I think also the frustration, which I don't know. I've spoken to a few of my friends who are actors. I'm not in the industry. I'm just talking.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
a lot of my friends who are angry at this whole situation, their major
Hmm.
beef was that these, like, for a long time, you've been in the industry for what, 12 years now, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these people, when they're starting out, they've been told that, your first few years you have to pay your dues and do a lot of shit for free and do a lot of shit at negative pay. You're actually paying money to fucking access
Yeah.
some of these
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities. And then they're told that, okay, now there's a lot of competition. But then I was actually told by a friend the actual experience of going out and auditioning as an actor, right? It completely changed the
Hmm.
way I look at rejection, man. Because my friend told
Yeah.
me that as an actor you're lined up like 100 people, sorry, not 100 people, but
Yeah.
whoever's
Yeah.
there, you're literally made up you're put in a line, and you're told
And then they go
you
fit,
don't
not fit.
not
Yeah.
sorry, you guys don't fit, like it's some kind of weird fucking twisted game show, but that's your life and that you're doing every day,
That's
right? And you're doing that day in and day out, four
yeah.
times, five times a day, right? You're facing that level of
Yeah.
rejection. But if here's the thing, if
Yeah.
you're facing that level of rejection in a fair system, it's a completely different thing. But you're facing that rejection in an unfair system, people are bound to be pissed off.
That I mean, A, that wouldn't happen in a fair system to begin with.
Hmm.
And I think, like, sure, like, even I've sort of been idealistic in my early 20s and been like, yeah, we need to have a utopian where we can work towards a fair world. But, like, at some point, you have to say, yeah, things are not fair. But, and what do we, like, how do we maneuver
That's tough,
around it?
man.
And of course, when, like, learn these things, because when you are in a position to call out the shots, you sort of make decisions that would not be too unfair. Because I'm sure at some point, like even you were doing,
Yeah.
like I mean, we all also have had a good education, gone abroad,
Hmm.
like studied and stuff. That's not fair for a person who's studying under a street light. And right, like 2 lanes around me, there's a garden where I see people studying every day.
See,
So that's also, I mean,
see, that may not be equitable, right? But
mhm.
you're still equal. You haven't restricted
are
that
we?
individual's
Are we?
opportunities by accessing an in.
I think we have.
How?
Because I've got like the best teachers to teach
Right.
me. I've got like the way I mean, I'm studying in an air conditioned room and stuff like
Right.
that. And this guy has had to put in a lot more struggle.
Right.
But has it stopped people from topping the exam or whatever? No. So, like, I think the person who does want to, of course, it's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair at all.
Right.
But like so much in this world is not
That's
fair.
true.
And we are also sort of part of that problem. We are also doing things to other people that is not fair.
Okay, so supposing that kid, let's take up that example. So supposing that kid
Hmm.
that you're talking about, um, decided to apply to the same school that you and I went to. Right.
Huh. Huh. He couldn't afford the fees, no?
So, right. So you're saying that access is restricted from a very young age, and there's unfairness
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. And like, I mean, and even for the star kids and stuff, like from the like time you're born, like you're decided what this guy is going to do.
Yeah.
Like even for star kids, it's like, actor banega ki director. It's of course it's a more glamorous field to be in.
Yeah.
It comes with a lot more mental baggage, if you ask me. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not fair, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's like for it to change, it's not like you can just say, okay, I'm going to boycott this actor's films and suddenly it'll change.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all, man. No. I think legally, like, I think we need to, like, I just think that we had this.